France is imposing a wealth tax and economic neutron bomb that, like socialism, has been tried many times and failed many times. This time, maybe it'll work. This is despite the highest tax burden in Europe, 57% of GDP, and near flat economic growth in France going on 20 years, which a wealth tax will make worse. Now, they're doing it in a desperate effort to reassure bond investors that France can handle a national debt that has quintupled since 1980, with an annual deficit of 5% of GDP, the highest since the 2008 crisis. Now, America's deficit is actually higher, but then France does not have a reserve currency to force foreigners to finance our debt, while France does have a paralyzed government where no party is in majority. The tax will probably pass since it's rapidly popular with 80% support among French voters who resent people who build stuff instead of stealing it from voters. So wealth taxes have been tried over and over in Europe and have failed every time because they wipe out far more wealth than they collect. Norway's wealth tax was expected to collect $150 million a year, but instead $54 billion fled the country, taking $600 million of taxes with them. In other words, taxes went down. Sweden's wealth tax increased rich people leaving by half, including IKEA's founder and the rock band ABBA, one of whom estimated they were keeping just 10 cents on the dollar they earned, trying to stay alive. Now, France itself had a wealth tax until 2017, when it was repealed because it too drove out tens of thousands of millionaires who took tens of billions of investment with them. The tax reduced investment by more than 5 times what it collected. So the problem with a wealth tax is that it's very easy to make it very big. For example, the French one is a 2% annual tax, which sounds quite reasonable. Thing is, going by the Forbes 500, rich people only grow their money by about 5% a year, meaning a 2% tax is actually confiscating 40% of your returns. Toss in income tax that are already over 50% in France, and you get to 90%. You keep 10 cents, why bother? The wider issue is in the real world, there's 2 things to do with money. You can invest it or you can consume it. In practice, even billionaires might spend 20 or 50 million on watches and private planes. The other 99% is invested in businesses that create jobs. Might be invested in their own company like Tesla or in other companies like Warren Buffett. But a wealth tax flips this because it's now 10 times cheaper to just spend the money. So instead of creating companies, jobs, and technology, you get exactly what the left hates, rich guys with giant yachts. So if you want to soak the rich, do it with a sales tax, a tax on consumption. More important, going by history, income and wealth taxes always start with the rich, that's marketing 101, and then quickly bleed down to the middle class. So consider America's income tax was designed to hit only the top 1% at a top rate of 7%. Today, it hits 73% of Americans paying a top rate of 37%. It's actually 50% if you're in California. So what's next, brought to you by I Trust Capital. Europe's long slide into socialism is accelerating. Unless they radically shrink government spending, which they will not, given half the population lives on government money, it will get worse. Okay, we'll be watching. See you next time. If you want to protect generational wealth in gold and Bitcoin, or even if you want to speculate in crypto, I Trust Capital has built one of the most secure platforms in the world that you can even use with your IRA so you don't pay any taxes until you retire. Because I Trust is dollars in and dollars out, your assets cannot be stolen by outsiders, something that actually happened to millions of crypto wallets in September. If you want to diversify your portfolio without paying gold custody and high fees, if you actually want to sleep at night without worrying about hacks and keys, check out the vault-grade security and institutional level protection of I Trust premium custody accounts. Visit itrustcapital.com/Peter and get an instant $100 funding bonus.